This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FI Investment Group, and your host of Washington Calling, where we interview leading voices from business, from politics that impact you, the viewer. Today, we are fortunate to have a distinguished guest, Captain Sharma, who has who has given his life to serve the humanity. Thank you for all you do, Mr. Captain Sharma, for your leadership, and you are making a difference. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so Captain Sharma, you have a very impressive profile. Tell us a little bit about your background for our global audience, and tell us who you are and what you do, so that we can get started.
Yeah, it's okay for me to address you, Frank.
Yes, by all means.
Yeah, thank you. Frank, I'm a refugee from Burma, which is Myanmar now. In 1966, I came to India with 25 rupees with my family. And rest, of course, you'll be asking me, rest is history. We struggled in India, tried to settle down here. I joined Delhi Flying Club 1968. I was in the same batch with former Prime Minister of India, Rajiv Gandhi. And
Mm,
I was a refugee. That's correct. And I did my flying, did my commercial license, did my advanced flying in Patiala Flying College. Then there were very bad time for pilots in India, so I had an opportunity to migrate to United States, and uh, early part of '74. And my brother was already there. He was one of the doctors in Brooklyn, it's called Brookdale. So I started my career there. The pilot, there were over uh, abundance of pilots in the United States after the Vietnam War, and there were no opportunities for a young pilot like me. So I struggled. I started my job as a stretcher puller at a morgue in Brooklyn at my brother's
my
hospital.
goodness.
Uh, yeah. So for 6 months, I cried because there was no job for pilots. So, luckily, I was pulling a stretcher to a guy, a Jewish millionaire, who happened to have some big share in one of the airlines called Overseas National Airways, one of the non-SCAT carriers. There were four non-SCAT carriers in the United States. Probably you would know them,
Mhm.
ONA and TCA, things like that. So I got a job there to work in the flight service, and they promised me that I will get a flying job. But that didn't happen. But luckily, I flew as an in-flight supervisor for over 2 years and got inducted into Pan Am. Similar
One,
thing happened with Pan
so,
Am. And, yeah,
how was your
go ahead.
experience with the Pan Am? Is that a memory still lingers on your mind?
Very much sure. Whatever I am today is because of Pan American. And Pan
Wonderful.
Am, yeah, all thanks to America. One of the dreams that you realize, a guy who was rejected with Indian Airlines got a job with Pan Am, one of the world's best airlines. Many few people would know today because that you would probably know living in United States what Pan Am was. And similar thing happened, a lot of layoffs with Pan Am, and I was probably one of the victims, and then became an in-flight director. So I was with Pan Am on and off for about 6, 7 years. Then I started my own company in travel management and corporate travel consultant. So I did extremely well for 8 years in the United States. Uh, Always I had something in my back of my mind that I must do something in India, because many people ask me that you are doing a lot of social work in America. What about India? Have you ever thought? I said, well, I'm not from India. I'm an Indian, but I came to India for a short while, and definitely I reconnected myself with India in United States. Whatever I'm doing now, Frank, it's all because of being in US and learn. We never thought of coming back to India, but what America taught me was to realize my roots, where we have come from, and kind of we have some connection with India. So things changed in the early '80s. My mother died, and I became a monk, a Buddhist monk for a while. So
My
I traveled
goodness.
to Japan.
So you
So
took a journey
that
of
was for a
spirituality, right?
spirituality. I never wanted to. I was already married. My older daughter was on the way. Uh, but a lot of good things happened during the time. With the spirituality, I met some good masters and realized that I must lead a normal life, and things are much better than see the spiritual life. There are a lot of hypocrisy, becoming a monk and leaving the family, everything. So I came back to the family, and
So let
my
me,
vision. Yeah,
well,
go
first of
ahead.
all, thank you very much. I wanted to get you to talk about your work you're doing in village of Haryana and Rajasthan. But before I ask you that questions, as you probably know, my journey should resonate well with the billions of immigrants across the globe, because the fact that I came to United States at a very young age with $8 in my pocket, and I am a beneficiary of America's kindness and generosity. It's America's inclusiveness that provided me the opportunity to succeed. And these are the values and strengths and qualities America, all of us, including you, can proudly and truly embrace. And that's the kind of a feeling that's the kind of a generosity we want also in India, to uplift all the people, regardless of who they are. When they succeed, all of us succeed, India succeed, and the world succeeds. So that's my 2 cents worth of a talk, a little bit, Captain Sharma. But tell me a little bit about the what you do to the upliftment of villages in Haryana and also in Rajasthan. Are you keeping them the hope, and so you're keeping the hope alive and well?
Very much, Frank. For a few years, I had a lot of problem because I came with a big bag of dollars, thinking that it will last long and I should do and things like that without closing my business in United States. I did suffer a loss in United States as an absentee owner of the consulting company. And soon I realized in the villages what I was doing was not right because I was not a professional social worker. So what I did after 4 or 5 years is I have become more of a catalyst. It's not a money-based social work, but it's more of a catalyst, motivate them. And of course, there are some local donations pour in whenever there's a time of need. Not very big donation. Now I have about 90 villages where I'm working. I started with one in 1989, and the organization called Vision of India is to realize the vision of people like yourself, any Indian who have been some connection with India. So it's not my personal trust or some Sharma organization or etc. And anybody that I can connect in India, they can come forward and volunteer. And mainly in the areas of skill development,
Skill
women
so. Okay.
empowerment. Skill development is the main education, not opening schools, but to encourage children to go to school where the government schools are. So these are the things we're doing. Rural employment. So we have many programs like Khadi and doll making and many etc. etc. These kind of things. I can go on in those areas.
So what are you do? What you're doing is to teaching the people to get a good education, to realize their dream, and also to be the best they can be, and also develop the skills so they become a part of the 21st century workforce. That's
That's
something
correct.
that's missing in India. I just came back from India about 3 weeks ago. I was uh, I was in many parts of the India, and I gave many speeches. But I talk a little bit about the skills development and creating the entrepreneur. Is the mosque and the temples and the church will not create a job. So what creates a job is to have the innovations and entrepreneurship center, so that they become part of the 21st century workforce. So what you're doing is a noble cause, and I hope you succeed. And I wanted to ask you, you did some work in Pasadena, California, where I had a close to 300 employees at Jet Propulsion Lab, which is not
Oh
that,
wow.
which is a part of the Pasadena, California. And the question is, why did you serve the community, and why were you civically engaged, and what lessons have you learned that will allow you to do a better job and to fulfill your responsibility as citizen of the United States and India in Indian villages.
Yeah. Frank, this all started in Pasadena. And if you had that close contact with JPL, I was part and parcel. There were 40 engineers, Indian engineers, who were part of my group. And we started India Heritage Center there. My wife and myself founded that, which is still running very successfully. And 80% were JPL employees. They were, very senior members who are in rocketry and unmanned space flights. And I was a speaker several times at JPL on being a pilot. They gave me projects to speak
What
on
what year was
Indian
this?
vehicles.
What year was
That
that,
was
Mr.?
probably the 80s, mid 80s, around 84,
Okay,
85.
okay.
And also, I was politically involved with City of Pasadena with a mayor, and also brought Festival of India, and I chaired that in Pasadena. That was celebrated for almost a year at Pacific Asia Museum, right near Colorado Boulevard. And 7 days was teaching and coordinating with all the Americans about Indian culture and learning about Americanization and things like that. So I was very, very active in City of Pasadena, and also the development of Pasadena, which is the old town. I was part of the team that propagated old town development, which is now earning about $1 billion for City of Pasadena.
Wow. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit your association with India Post. As I understand, you have some in the west coast of the United States. You have sort of a publication that caters to the India's diaspora community. Tell us a little bit about story. What kind of story do you publish? Is it online? Is it hard
Yeah.
copy? And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Frank, what happened when I was very closely associated with Congress and the Senate and my local bodies, I was exposed to most of the Indo-American associations, FIA, NFIA, etc. I had never been an officer there, but I was promoting them. And Dr. Japra, who's now the chairperson and also the earlier vice president of the NFIA, based out of
I do
Northern
know him.
California.
Yes.
Yes. So he said, you are in India now and you need some job, and you are very well connected and active in the social area and political area, even though I'm not involved in the politics in India per se. He said, this is a job for you if you can help me out. We want to start a bureau in India. That's, Frank, how I started with Dr. Japra. And now this is my 22nd year with Dr. Japra in India Post News Weekly.
So is it
And
an online publication? Is it a hard copy?
it's a hard copy, it's online, e-paper, and India Post has about 6, 7 sections. We were television also, IPTV. Then we have value India.com. The .com, we had almost 10,000 square feet of area, the heart of Silicon Valley. But that has changed. Now, print has changed. Online. The younger people wants to be online on paper. So the print, we are reducing print steadily, but we are getting very active on the website and on e-paper. So now we are
So
present in about 80 countries worldwide.
my goodness, India Post
Yeah,
is engaging
yeah.
the people all around the globe. Do you know people in
All over
India
the world.
diaspora all over the world? So you live in the United States or you live in India?
I live now mostly. I used to live half, but now I spend, because of my social work, and India Post shifted one of the main offices for me in Delhi. So I travel back and forth, but I'm about 70% in India.
70% is in India. So tell us
Yes.
a little bit about how people like me who are Indian diaspora who can help you in the rural development to help achieve your fullest potential in order for all of us to be engaged and involved to make a difference.
Very much, Frank. That's a very good question. Probably the best question I want to hear. Because you have just mentioned in the beginning that the emotions are very attached to India, and you see detached, not living here. So you can do a lot more. I was lucky to come here physically involved, but it's not necessary. If you find not only my organization, any organization good work and has a good report card, or has a good background, you can get attached to them, do numerous things on water. There's a village which never had a water for 70 years, just because they were all Muslim village. There was not a single Hindu in that village. So this is where my latest program was, in that village, and 6, 7 friends came forward, and now we have given a tap water to each and everybody in that village.
What part
So
of
that
India
was a
is this?
challenge.
Okay.
That is Mewat in Haryana, and one of the most depressed area of Haryana in India. It's even worse than many interiors of India. And they have no job. The youth, the skill center that I run, most of the children are dejected, rejected by the society. They're seventh fail, sixth graders, fourth graders, kids who are never sent to school. So I take these kids, kill them, and make them entrepreneurs to be employed in their rural environment only. They don't have to come to the city. So we have trained about 26,000 in 20 years.
Wow, that's a pretty impressive number. So,
It's a drop in the
are you
bucket, Frank,
thinking
in India.
about expanding that to the other part of India, especially in the western part of the eastern part of the UP, which is Azamgarh, where I was born?
Definitely, Frank, if we have some association with somebody who can come with not big funding, it's what I have got a formula is to have the local people contribute 80%. Now, 80% doesn't have to be dollars and rupees. 80% could be building,
Time, it could
unused
be
building in
time
the
and
village.
right, right.
Yes, that's where you are spending most of the very crucial funds that are required for development. So what you have to see is a long term. Uh, Minimum gestation period should be 10 years in a place to have some result. So you can start like that, and many villages are very liberal. They can offer unused their chopals and panchayat centers and all. You can use them, and their salaries can be used with a sponsorship funds. You can get a good teachers at a rural area much cheaper than major cities, and also this will encourage people to stay within the rural setup and bring technology to them, bring new different kind of programs, so that which are local sensitive programs, not that you are bringing something where they won't get a job. So if a village has good carpenter, good wood, something, you can bring carpentry for furniture making. If the village has more of fruits and vegetables, you can have packaging industry, something like that. You can start.
Very good idea. I may be able to. I lived all my life here in the United States, so I do not have that much a connection there, but I see if I can find some. And
Very good.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what's your thoughts about the U.S.-India relationship under this administration. I have given a speech on the U.S.-India relationship when I was in Delhi called Cuts, and I made the point that the collaborations and the compromise are something does not exist under this administration. What is your thoughts about the U.S.-India relationship? Our trade has increased close to $73 billion per year, and my forecast is by 2020 we should be close to $500 billion in terms of trade and commerce and investment, and also sharing of the intelligence between the United States and India for the terrorism and the terrorism that occurred in Kashmir should have not occurred if we had to share the intelligence. So that's one aspect. So tell me a little bit about the and also the growing influence of the Indian American in political system in the United States. And I'm politically very engaged. I have a good friend with Obama, the Clintons, and Democratic Party. Very, very engaged. I do a lot of fundraising even at my home just about every month. So tell us a little bit about where we are, what we need to do, and what's your suggestions to the people who are who are in India and struggling with what Trump said about the trade, putting a tariff on the trade on the trade. As a matter of fact, that's what he said.
Frank, practically you have answered most of the questions because you are more experienced. You are, you know, we are probably at a honeymoon stage with America. It has never happened in the history of India-US relationship. Now, these are not happened overnight, as people like yourself, who has probably been doing for well over at least 20 years to 30 years.
more.
The efforts are now true. Efforts are now culminating to the results. It's not because of Trump administration or Obama. I think we started these even while I was in America. People like you are in the forefront, right in Washington, right in New York, and likewise, you can see in the political sphere, our engagement is all the way to the White House. The two ladies who have been signing up with the Democratic Party, and earlier it was with Jindal, Senator Jindal, and many
No,
things are happening
he
at the
was a
local
governor.
level.
He was a governor general.
Yeah, Governor Jindal, and
He was from
also
Louisiana.
you see, that's correct. Sorry,
Nikki Haley
and
was the South Carolina.
Nikki Haley, Ro Khanna at the
Ro
level.
Khanna is from
So a lot of
from
youngster
your side, from
California,
Silicon Valley.
yeah, from Silicon Valley. So we are very
Right.
proud. He's been very closely supported by Dr. Japra, who's very much involved with
Hmm.
the policy.
Yeah,
That's why probably
I
you
know him
know
very
him
well.
well.
Very well.
Yeah, and that result, and today, even as late as last week, Trump's president's statement regarding terrorism is all interconnected to these things. And about the billions of dollars of investment between India and America will come through because it's only a matter of time with 1.3 billion people. We have never achieved a full potential of Indo-US relationship, what we can do. It's only because of people like you, people like Dr. Japra, people like Dr. Sudhir Parekh. There are several people. I'm not going to take all the names in front of me, uh, but these are happening all because of you. And you
Well,
can do a lot more, provided India understands the intricacies of doing business with America.
right. Well, there are several issues, and I'll be more than happy to send you. Have you seen my articles on this U.S.-India relationship? I just wrote it in
Some,
Hindustan Times.
some,
It
yes.
was in Hindustan Times about a week ago.
I may have
So
missed that, but I've read some of your, yeah.
yeah, so there are still some barriers, and there's still a lot of corruptions in India, and also what's going on in India under this government. And I know Modi very well. The society has become more polarized, and we have to rise above the angry partisanship to bring the people together. And if they are together, they can help shape a better future for India and the world. As a matter of fact, India is the hope, beacon of hope for democracy and aspirations and dreams. So I have a lot of admiration and respect for India and Indians people and its entrepreneurship, but there are a lot of things that have to be done in terms of creating a job, building the prosperity, getting a good educations, and also making sure um, they can make it easier for the people to do business, which has not occurred,
Yes.
and also the what's going on with the religious harmony and communal peace and harmony in India with the cow lynching and some other incident that has occurred does not reflect the values, the character and conscience of India that has some effect on the relationship and especially in the Congress. So that's my take, Captain Sharma. And
No, no, very
I
good.
wanted
You
to,
are to the point. Yeah.
yeah, I do want to express my deep gratitude to you, what you do in India, and also in America, what have you done to serve the community? Because we have a short time on this planet of Earth, and we need to make a difference. As President Kennedy said in 1950 about immigration, that we are a nation of immigrants, and immigrants infuse this nation with far horizons and new frontier, thereby keeping the hope alive and well. I serve on the board of the JFK Library and the Harvard University and Kennedy School of Government, and also board of trustees at the Kennedy Centers over here in Arts and Culture. So I have a lot of admirations what President Kennedy has done and what you're doing in terms of making a difference, because we have a short time in planet Earth. We need to make a difference. And thank you for all you're doing.
Thank
So
you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
you're most welcome. So this is Frank Islam wishing you a great week, and thank you for watching.